Om Bhadram Karnevi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhir Yajatra Sthirai Rangai Stuštavansas Tanuvi Vyashema Deva Hitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhashrava Swastina Pusha Vishwaveda Swastina Starksho Arishtanemi Swastino Brahaspatir Dadatu Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We are studying here Muṇḍaka Upanishad with the help of Shankaracharya's commentary. And in the second Muṇḍaka first section, we have read up to 5 mantras. And the context is like this, that Shaunaka asked Angiras, knowing what everything becomes known, he said there are 2 types of knowledge, the higher and the lower. And all the dual knowledge, subject knowing the object, is lower knowledge. And all the Vedas are included in that. All the Karma Kandatmak Vedas are included in that. Even Upanishads as words are included in that. That higher knowledge means that through which you know, realize the real nature of Atman. That is how it is defined, not through any books. Because as Shankaracharya says, along with what is given in the books, 2 things become absolutely necessary for the higher knowledge. And they are not, reason does not help there. One is the absolute vairagya is required. And secondly, a guru is required. And from Muṇḍaka itself we have shown, Shastrajñopi swatantrena brahmanveshanam na kuryat. So you may become a pandit in the Shastras, but if you want to search for Brahman, you should not do it independently. You must go to a guru. So because of these 2 absolute necessaries, the real knowledge, the higher knowledge or the real knowledge, knowledge of common reality, can be known only by the nature of the reality. It does not depend upon you or me, but it depends upon the nature of the reality. And so the nature of the reality was described in short, yattad adrashyam agrayam, etc. And in that mantra we had seen that it is transcendent immanent reality, nirguna saguna brahma. Because there itself it was said that the rishis saw that it is the origin of all the world. So it is the creator, preserver and destroyer of the world, what we generally call as Ishvara, Saguna Brahma, and beyond everything, what we call Nirguna Brahma. Brahmans are not 2. Brahman read by our mind, human mind or any mind. I is there and I know Brahman. That is Saguna Brahma only. When this I merges, the knower, known and knowledge become one. Then we call that Brahman as Nirguna or transcendent. Now, after that, that was in the first section of the first Muṇḍaka. In the second section, they say that unless we show you the full scope of lower knowledge and its products, how can you have that vairagya which is absolutely necessary for the higher knowledge? So they started by telling, etat satyam, this is true. True in the sense that if you do this work, the result must come. If the work is done with that consciousness that I am the doer. And then it described all the results. Very sweet, tempting, that they will come and call you and take you to higher heavens. And then we were told that these are brittle boats. You cannot reach beyond the ocean by this. And then a mantra came which told us that little different from this, tapashraddheye upavasanti aranye. So those householders who have become calm, their indriyas are no more restless due to knowledge, and the vanaprasthis who retire to forest, and the ashrama sannyasis or dandi sannyasis who take sannyas as a matter of course, they all live on faith and austerity. They do not have any possessions, so they have to beg food, and they reach a place where the Purusha, the Supreme Purusha lives. Now this Supreme Purusha, and they go to him, show that it is not the absolute reality. In reality, there is no question of coming and going. So that highest loka or Brahma loka or Satya loka, or as I said, same thing, people call it differently, Vaikuntha or Kailasha and Ramakrishna loka, there you can go. And relatively, it is permanent because up to one cycle of creation you will be there. After that comes that shloka, that when you examine all this through scriptures, your reasoning and experience, you understand that these are places earned by doing something, as a result of doing something. And there is nothing in this, all the worlds, which is not of the type of result of doing something. And I do not want such thing because it has got to be finite and temporary, how much long it may be. So, to know the reality, he has come to the Guru. Now, then we came to the second Mundak, first section. And again it started with Tadetat Satyam. This is real. This is absolutely real. That if you realize the transcendent immanent reality, then the whole world, what is Satyam? That the whole world has nothing but emanated from that Brahman. Tadetat Satyam Yatha Sudiptat Pavakad Visvalinga, as from a blazing fire the sparks come out, Sahasrasha, thousands, Prabhavante, are born Sarupa, of the same nature as fire. Tatha Aksharad Vividha Somya Bhava. So from that unchanging reality, all these positive existences, all of different types, they are nicely born and they go back to him only. So we see the description of immanence. We see the description of he being the creator, preserver and destroyer of the whole world. Then, now the question is, what is his own real nature? Divyo hi amurta purusha, sabhayabhyantaro hi ajaha, aprano hi amana shubhro hi aksharat parata para. He is divya. Divya means beyond this world. Amurta, he has no form because that will limit him. Purusha, he is the being of the whole universe. And Sabhayabhyantaro, that means outside the world, inside the world, in between the world. So, real all-pervasive nature is his. He ajaha. And so, neither is he born from something, nor something is born from it. Aprano. He does not have this prana function. He amana. He does not have the mind functioning. Shubhro. He is pure. He aksharat parata para. Parata aksharat para. That means there is an unmanifested world which is beyond this world. Beyond this world or inside this world or the reality of this world, manifested world is unmanifested world, and that is beyond this world. That itself is called Akshara, unchanging reality. But beyond that is the Purusha. So that was in the first mantra we got the immanental aspect, all-pervading aspect, and in the second mantra we got the absolutely transcendent aspect of the same reality. And from there the creation is shown, etasmat jayate prano, manah sarvendriyani cha, kham vayur jyotirapa, prithvi vishwasya dharini. From this the prana comes out. When I comes, the prana comes out. Mind comes out, all the organs come out, and the five elements which make the whole world, the space, the wind, the flame, the water, and the earth. This earth holds all the beings, and this earth which holds all the being is the grossest manifestation of that reality. So, we see alternately. First, it is all-pervading. Secondly, it is beyond everything. Thirdly, that which is beyond everything, from that only this world gets manifested. So it has no other reality. And then the world is described. The prayojan of this description from fourth onwards is that anything which is great, holy, big, which creates an impression in our mind that it is real, separately real, that has to be described as nothing but manifested from it. That is the idea of the remaining portion of this section now. That why these things are described? So that these people hold this as real, that as real, but that is also come from him. This has also come from him. So Agnir Murdha Chakshushi Chandra Suryau Disha Shrotre Vagvivrutasya Veda Vayu Prano Hridayam Vishwamasya Padbhyam Prithvihi Yesha Sarvabhutantaratma. He is described as the whole world. Agni is its head. Chandra and Surya are his eyes. The directions are its ears. And Vedas are nothing but its speech. The Vayu which we see outside is nothing but its inner Vayu. And the whole world is experienced in its heart. And from its feet, this Prithvi has come, and so he is the innermost being of all. So all innermost being is he. And then, because the yajna was the main thing in the karma kanda, so he is describing that these factors of karma are also him. They are not different. Tasmad Agni, Samidho, Yasya Surya. This is, you see, called the Panchagni Vidya. How a man is born, it is all Brahman. Tasmat, from him, Agni. Which Agni? Whose fuel is Surya. And from there, moon is born. And then moon is burnt in another fire from where the rain falls. And then from the rain, when it goes to the earth, the plants are born. That is another fire. And this Purusha, man being, eats those very things. So man's body is called another fire. And that becomes the virya in man, the reta, the seed. And then woman's body is another fire. And there he sprinkles that reta. And from that, all the praja comes out. So actually the praja has come out from the Brahman itself, passing through 5 fires. Up to that we read. Now, factors of yajna. Because the yajna is that which is taken as the most holy, sacred, real. So, Tasmad richaha sama yajunshi diksha yagyascha sarve kartavo dakshinascha samvatsarascha yajamanascha lokaha somo yatra pavate yatra suryaha. So the richa, the hymns or the mantras which are necessary for the yajna as part of Vedas are also from him. Sama, Sama is that part of Rig Veda of the, you see the poetry form of the Vedas is included in the Rig Veda. And from that, something which can be sung is included in the Sama Vedas. So the poetry of the Rig Vedas also is from him. The song of the Samvedas are also from him, and the prose portion of the Vedas is Yajurveda. So Yajurveda are also from him. The Mundak forms the part of Atharva Veda, and that is not mentioned. Because generally, when the Karma Kanda comes, Ruks, Yaju and Sam are mentioned. Atharva Veda is a later Vedas, and Atharva Veda, very little of Karma Kanda is there. Atharva Veda generally deals with the subtler objects of reality, subtler knowledge, subtler vidyas, all that is in Atharva Veda. So that is not mentioned here as a part of the karma going on. Then Diksha. Diksha means not the mantra Diksha we receive. Huh? Diksha means the vow taken for yajna. When we are going to perform a yajna, then we have to go through a ritual which involves taking several vows that till this yajna is completed, I will not do this or I will not do that. You might have heard the surname title Dikshit. Both in the south and north and everywhere in India, there is a surname called Dikshit. So Dikshit means one who has taken Diksha. That is the original meaning. Now their descendants are all called Dikshits, though they might not be doing heaven. But originally, this title Dikshit came that some people take vow that they will perform the yajna. So that vow, Diksha, is also from God. It has no separate existence. Yagyasya, and then with all this, they will do the yajna. Also, all the yajnas, survey, yagyasya survey, all yajnas, all types of yajnas, kratavo. Kratavo are yajnas of long duration. There are two different interpretations. Kratavo means yajnas of long duration, or those yajnas where Pashu Bali is included, that is called Kratavo. So the Kratava also are from him. Dakshinasya, that is the essential part of the Yajna and Kratu, that you call the priest and then pay them very nicely, called Dakshina. That is, Dakshina is given to the priest to officiate in the Yajnas, and also to the other invitees also you give that. So that is a part of Yajna. So this part of the Yajna also emanated from Brahman only. Samvatsarasya. Samvatsara means 1 year. And 1 year here means that the time prescribed for a particular yajna. This yajna has to be done in rainy season, this yajna has to be done in such and such a season. So throughout the year you will find all these are defined. And so that time prescribed for a yajna is also from him. Yajamanasya, the host who on whose name that yajna is being performed is his form. Lokaha, then when he does this yajna, he will get some results. He will go to higher and higher spheres. So all these spheres are from him. Somo yatra pavate. Soma is a juice. And pavate means it is available there in plenty. Yatra surya. So Surya here represents the Uttarayana Marga. If the yajnas are done with relative knowledge of the deities, with some upasana or meditation, then one goes to northern path. And so that is represented as Soma. Similarly, this Soma, that is Surya. And similarly, Soma, maybe knowing that Jews, Soma is the name of moon. And so, those who perform yajna only without meditation, they go by the southern path. So, that is represented by the moon. So, all the factors of yajna are nothing but his manifestation. So, don't think yajna is a big thing and it must be real because it gives fruit. All the fruits and yajna and the doer and the priest, they are all from his manifestation only. So, let us see what Acharya has to say about it. Kimcha karma sadhanani phalani cha tasmadeva iti aha. Karma sadhanani, those means by which we do karma, and the results of their karma also are from him only. That is what is said. How? Tasmat Purushat, from that very being, from that very absolutely transcendent reality. Richo Niyatakshara Pada Avasana Gayatradi Chando Vishishtaman. Here itself Shankara is clear what is Rigveda. Niyatakshara Pada Avasana. That means in poetry, in old poetry histories, not the modern free verse. In old poetry, it was always composed in some meter. And so the syllables in a meter are fixed. So where the syllables of a meter are fixed, that goes to Rigveda. Niyatakshara Padavasana. And it has different meters. Gayatri is one of the meters. Gayatri the Chando Vishishta, composed in meters like Gayatri mantra. So the mantras or the hymns composed in poetry are called Rigveda or Richa. And this Richa or Rigveda have come from that very being. Sama, Panchabhaktikam cha, Saptabhaktikam cha. You know, originally Samveda had 5 notes. And later on it became developed into 7 notes. So the music of 5 notes are 7 notes, 5 parts are 7 parts. That Sama cha, Stobhadi Gita Vishishtam. Now the song sung in praise and all that is called Samaveda. Yajunshi Anyatakshara Padavasanani Vakya Rupani Evam Trivida Mantra. So Yajurveda consists of non-fixed letters. That is how prose is described. Non-fixed letters in a sentence, and that is called Yaju. And there are also different mantras in Yaju. Diksha Maunjadi Lakshana Kartru Niyama Vishesha. Munja was the name of a grass. And that grass is tied in the ring finger, in the hand. So that is how that vow was taken. And so that is Diksha. Niyama Vishesha. Special rules during that yajna, that is called Diksha. Yajnascha Sarve Agnihotra Daya. Agnihotra was the fundamental yajna, and then so many yajnas are there. They are all come from Brahman. Kratava Sayupa. So, Kratu he has described as there used to be a pillar to which the animal was tied. So, that is Kratu. Kratu is a yajna. Instead of telling that where Pashu sacrifice is there, it tells where the Yupa is there. That means the pole to which the animals are tied. That is called Yupa. And those yajnas which contain Yupa are called Kratus. Dakshinasya Ekagavadi Aparimita Sarvasvanta. Now, cow, minimum Dakshina will be 1 cow. And up to so much that everything that belongs to you should be given in that Vishwajit Yajna. So, Dakshina of what, why it is mentioned, Dakshina, whether small or big, that is also from him only. Samvatsarasya kala karmanga. Samvatsari means the time which is a part of that karma. Yajamanasya karta. Yajman means the host who is doing that yajna. Lokantasya karma phalabhuta. And the result of his karma, he will get some lokas. Te visheshyante. That lokas themselves are classified into two. Visheshyante means the adjectives are given to them. That means classification is made on the loka. Somo yatra yeshu lokeshu pavate punati lokani atra yeshu suryastapati cha. So where the soma or the moon purifies people, or where the sun blazes, techa dakshina dakshinayana uttarayana marga dvaya gamya. So they are known as the southern path and the northern path. That is not actually the 6 months of this and that. It is only the names, because it goes through darkness and that goes through light. Vidvat, avidvat, karma, kartru, phalabhuta. So man with relative knowledge or meditation or the knowledge of gods or upasana and karma, he goes to the northern path, and only not having any knowledge, just doing good works prescribed by the Vedas, he goes to southern path. So all the lokas of these two types are only born from him. So everything about yajna has been described. Tasmacha deva bahudha samprasuta sadhya manusya pashavo vayansi prana panau vrihi yavau tapascha shraddha satyam brahmacharyam vidishya. In these three things are described. One is the different types of beings. Gods are there. Sadhya is a special type of beings, man, animals, birds. So, the living beings of so many types. Sadhya is demigods, you may say something like gods. So, gods means in Chaitanya Pradhan. So, shining, that is called Deva, luminous. Of so many types have come from him. And sadhyas are elevated beings. They are also come from him only. All the men are nothing but forms of Brahman only. Animals, whether they are animals or birds. So in the first two lines, beings of different types should not produce a sense of realism in us. Oh, gods are there. Maybe gods, maybe sadhyas, maybe different in varieties of being, races, but everything is from him only. Animals, birds. Then when we come to animal kingdom, then we breathe in and breathe out, without which cannot be called living beings. So prana-apan is also from the same Brahman. Vrihi, yavu, then the grains on which we live, rice and barley. They are mentioned because they are the old crops. Tapasya, man has to work hard to get these things, and only austerity will not do. He has to have faith. And the followers of truth, and especially continence is mentioned. And all the rituals, vidisha. So beings, their life, their food, and their qualities with which they do the work. So this is another thing which makes it appear real to us. Oh, so many varieties of beings are there. Maybe appearance, but they are all appearance of Brahman only. And then a man lives. Okay, let him live, but it is Brahman only, and he eats foods of different types. Okay, that food also is from him, and he does austerity, and he has faith, and he believes in truth, and he practices continence. Okay, all these are from Brahman only. So those things which impress us as real are being described. Acharya tells us, Tasmatcha Purushat. He repeats everywhere. Tasmat means from that being, the absolutely transcendent being. Karmanga Bhuta Deva. Now the Devas in whose name we do sacrifice. So they are also parts of that karma only. Bahuda, Vaswadi Ganabhedena Samprasuta. There are groups of devatas. Vasus are 8, Adityas are 11, like that, like that. Rudras are 11, Vishwadevas are many, Marut are so many. So all the groups of all the gods being parts of work, Gana means groups. Vedena, Samprasuta, Samyak Prasuta. Nicely they are born from him only. Sadhya Deva Vishesha. Sadhyas are gods of a particular type. Manusha, Karmadikruta. That karma is being going to be done by the man. So man here means man who is qualified for doing some work. Pashavo Gramya Aranya. We have to tell many names so to feel it exhaustive. The Upanishad tells animals. Shankar says both the forest animals and the domestic animals. Vayansi Pakshina and the birds. Jivanam cha manushadinam pranapano, and man lives. So that is called the prana and apana, the breath which he leaves out and breath which he takes in. That is their life. Vrihi yavo havir arthau. Vrihi yavo he does not define as food of the man. He says when he has to do yajna, he has to use this rice and barley. So revolving still round the karma. Tapasya karmangam purusha sanskara lakshanam swatantram cha phalasadhanam. So austerities are two types. One is part of that karma which purifies man, and independent also, which lead to some results. So tapasya is done for purifying and tapasya is done for achieving some results. Both types of tapasya. Shraddha yat purvaka sarva purushartha sadhana prayoga chitta prasada astikya buddhi. Shraddha is with what? All the means of achieving the goals of life. And that means, the main means is chitta prasad, the tranquil, happy position of the mind. That is also Shraddha. Astika buddhi. Shraddha means belief in the supersensuous realities. Belief in the supersensuous realities, only then a man performs this yajna. Only then a man believes that I will get something, and as a means of that he does all these things, and with peaceful mind. So Shraddha means belief in the supersensuous reality, keeping a peaceful, blissful mind, and doing different works to get those results. Satyam, Andruta Varjanam, Yatha Bhutartha Vachanam cha Apidakaram. Important point he has added. Truth means avoidance of falsity. Yatha Bhutartha Vachanam. That means as it has happened, as you have experienced, you have to describe. But does not mean that you bluntly hurt others. included in the definition of Satya. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Na bruyat, satyam apriyam. Priyam cha na anrutam bruyat. Esha dharma sanatana. You should speak the truth, but you should speak the pleasing things only. Does not mean that you should utter falsity to please a man. Neither you should bluntly hit him with truth, which does not please a man. So, Satya includes Priya, and so Shankaracharya here says that Yatha Bhutartha Vachanam cha apidakaram, which will not trouble the others. Because some people think they are very truthful and they bluntly say certain things by which people are hurt. Brahmacharyam Maithuna Asamachara. Brahmacharya means absence of sex. Vidishya iti kartavyata. And vidhi means whatever man should do, prescribed by the Vedas. So all this is from him. Then man's personality. So the inner personality of man should not produce a realism. And that is why this thing also is taken up. Sapta prana prabhavanti tasmat saptarchisha samidha sapta homa sapta ime loka yeshu charanti prana guhashaya nihita sapta sapta. So here Archi, Samidha, Loka are not outside. Sapta Prana, 7 Indriyas, functional Indriyas come out of him. Which 7? Which we see on the face. 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears and 1 mouth. These are the 7 pranas. And they have also come from the same reality. Now in that 7 flames are there. That means the relative knowledge of the objects which these Indriyas give us are called 7 flames. Samidha, Sapta Homa. Samidha means the Vishayas are put as oblations in that fire. And that is the Homa going on. So, this Homa means the experience of objects through the organs. Saptaime Loka. Now, Loka does not mean outside world. Loka means the 7 places where these organs function. The eyes which we see are not the organ of seeing. Eyes are the place in which the organ of seeing sits. Similarly, nose, mouth, ears, they are not the organs. They are the locations where these organs function. So they are called 7 lokas. Yeshu charanti prana. The 7 lokas, 7 habitations where the pranas or 7 indriyas move about, do their work. Guhashaya. Nihita sapta sapta. So, what is guha? This, when a man goes to sleep, where do all the indriyas go? They go back to the body or they go back to the heart. So that is called guha. Living in caves. And this cave is either the whole body or cave is the heart, from where they come out in the morning and go back to the night. Nihita sapta sapta. So this all these seven groups of 7 are described. Prana, Archi, Samida, Homa, Loka. So 7 groups of 7 all are born from him. So the inner personality of the man is also from the same God. Shankar says Kimcha, and also Sapta Shirshanya Prana. 7 pranas in the head. Tasmadeva Purushat Prabhavanti. That is common. From the same Supreme Being, they are born. Tesham cha saptarchisho diptaya sovishyavedevtanani. So 7 flames means the light in them which reveals the 7 objects. Vishay tatha sapta samida, sapta vishaya, and the objects are called the firewood because they only give that fire. Vishayiri samidhyante prana. When the objects are there, then only the organs become alive. Sapta homa tad vishay vijnanani. And the experience of those 7 types of objects are called 7 homas. Yadasya vijnanam tad juhoti iti shrutyantarat. In Maharaj-2022 Upanishad it is told that this experience itself is called the homa. Kimcha saptaime loka indriya sthanani. So loka means the places of the indriyas. Yeshu charanti sancharanti prana. In that they move about, these pranas. Prana yeshu charanti iti prananam visheshanam idam pranapanadi nivrittartham. Oh. Now prana has several meanings. So pran means prana and apan. That we do not want here. So yeshu charanti, they move about. That is not the description of pranapanas, that is the description of the indriyas. Guhayam sharire hridayeva swapakale sharate iti guhashaya. And at the time of sleep, either in the body or in the heart, and they sleep, so they are called guhashaya. Nita sthapita dhatra sapta sapta pratiprani vedam. Nita means established by God. Dhatra means one who has created, preserves and destroys this world. That Dhatra, by that God, these are kept in those places. Sapta sapta prani prati prani vedam. For each man 7, for this man 7, like that, 7 7 for each man have been put by God. Yani cha atmayajinam vidusham karmani karma phalani cha avidusham cha karmani tat sadhanani karma phalani cha sarvam cha etat parasmad eva purushat sarvagyat prasutamiti prakaranartha. So he says, what is the meaning of the whole topic? That those who know the self, they are also doing sacrifice, their work, and those who do not have that knowledge, they are also doing good work. So all the works of everybody and their fruits all come from the Supreme Being who is all-knower. That is the meaning of the whole section. Now again come outside the world. Again come and see the outside world. So this inner thing is described. Now again we are taken outside and the whole world of different types are all his manifestation. Atah samudra girayasya sarve asmat chandante sindava sarvarupa atasya sarva oshadayo rasasya yenesha bhutais tishtate antaratma. Ata means from him, from this. Ata means Panchami, from this. From this what? All the oceans, all the hills, and the big flowing rivers of different forms, and everything, all the plants, all the juices of all the plants. Yenisha bhutais tishtate antaratma. He is the innermost being with the help of different juices, means the life in the trees. All the plants and the juices with which they live is all he. Ata Purusha Samudra, from this Purusha, all the oceans, Sarve Ksharadya. In India, it was supposed that there is a salt sea and there is a milk sea and then there is a sweet sea. So, whatever types of ocean are from him. Girasya Himavadayo, the big hills like Himalayas and other mountains, Asmadeva Purushat Sarve, all the hills are from this being only. The whole thing is deified as its manifestation. In themselves, they are nothing, it's not separately real, they are all manifestations of him. Sendante Sravanti Gangadya Sindhavo Nadya. Sindhu means big rivers. Name Ganges, etc. Sarva Rupa Bharupa of so many forms. Asmadeva Purushat, from they are all from this Purusha. Sarva Oshadaya Vriyavadya. Whether rice or grains or all the plants are from him. Rasasya Madhuradi. Rasa means the taste. 6 types of taste. Shadvido yena rasena bhutei panchabi stulai pariveshtita tishtati antaratma lingam sukshmam shariram. Here antaratma means the inner body. And inner body is the subtle body. Inner body is also called linga sharir because that is how we recognize a man. And actually it is made of these 5 elements. But it is told that they are made from those 5 juices. Tadi antarale sharirasya atmanasya atmavad vartati iti antara. Why it is called antaratma? Between the real atma and the body, in between it is, and it appears or behaves as if that is the inner being of the body. Mind appears to be the inner being of the body, though mind has itself has an inner being. So this intermediate being, subtle being, mind, is also from him. Then what is the conclusion? If it is like that, then what is the conclusion? Why it was all told? Purusha eva idam vishwam. This whole universe is nothing but God, not as it is. As it is unreal, appearance. But it is not different from God. Whether it is karma or tapa or brahma, which is para amrita, etad yo veda nihitam guhayam. And where does one know this? Not that we have to see God in that hill and God in the river. All this is experienced in the heart of man. Swami Vivekananda, reading his lectures and hearing, somebody went to Swami Vivekananda and asked, "You have taught us to see God in all, isn't it?" Swamiji said, "Such foolish things I have never taught you. I have taught you to see that God which is in everybody. You have to see God in your own heart, and there you will understand this God is all pervading. Not that you have to see God in this person, this hill, this river." So, Vishwam, Purusha eva idam Vishwam, Karma, Tapo, Brahma, Etadyo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. Guha is heart here. So this who knows as established in your heart. So heart is the instrument of experience. Heart is the location where you experience. And so avidya granthe vikiriti Soumya. Soumya is Angiras addressing Shaunaka, "Oh dear one, that avidya is like a knot. The wrong knowledge is like a knot which has tied this consciousness to the body. And that will get broken if in that heart you can realize that everything is nothing but manifestation of God." So for this conclusion, the whole world, inner, outer, everything was described. The conclusion is that all this inner and outer world is nothing but he has to be experienced in the heart. Shankar says, Evam Purushat Sarvamidam Samprasutam. In this way, everything has come out from the Purusha. Ato Vacharamanam Vikaro Namadeyam Andrutam Purusha iti evam Satyam. So come out. How can it come out? It appears. Purusha himself being all pervading, where is the out of him to go? Samaya Bentaro Yaja. So come out means appear. So it is what? It is just this from Mundaka Upanishad that relatively clay or mud is true. All the pots, etc., made of clay are nothing but the names you have given through modification of your speech. So, Vacharammanam Vikaro, starting from your Vani, the modifications, Namadheyam, only names, that means unreal. Only names mean they are unreal. The reality is only that Purusha. So the world is unreal, Purusha is real, and that Purusha appears as this world. This is the full real knowledge. So, Purusha eva idam vishwam sarvam. So, Purusha itself is this whole universe. Now, Vishwam nama Purushad anyat kinchid asti. So, there is nothing called the universe apart from God. Ato yadiktam tadeva idam abhitam. Kasmin Vagav Vigyate Sarvamidam Vigyatam Bhavati iti. You had asked, knowing which everything becomes known. So, knowing this Brahman, knowing this Purusha, knowing your own reality, you know everything. Because that itself is everything. Etasmini parasmin atmani sarva karane purushe vigyate. So that cause of all, which is beyond all, which is that being. So when that becomes experientially realized, then that is called Purusha eva vidam vishwam nanyanastiti vigyatam bhavati iti. Then what we know, everything, you know that nothing exists other than Purusha. Kim punaridam vishwamiti uchyate. So, about which world you are telling? Karma agnihotradi lakshanam. So, world as it appears. What is that world which appears? Karma is the work which you are doing. Tapo means jnanam. Tapa here means the change of consciousness. Tat krutam phalam anyad etavadhi idam sarvam. So the result of that karma, result of your knowledge, that much is the world. Tasmat sarvam brahma paramrutam. Paramam param amrutam aham eva iti yo veda. So knowing that not as an object, knowing that is what I am really. So all this is Brahma, which is beyond, which is nectar, which is undying, which is blissful. That is I am. That is the nature of knowledge. The supreme knowledge is not the knowledge of objects by subject, but that itself I am. Iti yo veda nihitam sthitam guhayam ridi sarva praninam. In all beings' heart it is there, and there one has to go and realize. So evam vijnanat, when he knows it like that, realizes it like that, avidya granthim eva dridibhutam avidya vasanam vikirati. So why it is called a knot? That wrong knowledge, the impressions of wrong knowledge are very firmly rooted. So it is called a knot. Granthim eva dridibhutam avidya vasanam vikirati vikshipati nashayati. So it is divided, thrown away, ejected means destroyed. Jivan neva na mrutasan, and living itself, one does like that. Not after death. Nothing happens after death. So, here word is there. Na here. Here means living itself. One realizes like that. So, me, hey Priyadarshana. So, this ends the first section of the second Mundak. So, that is how the higher knowledge is being given by the whole world, inner and outside, is described as Brahman to be realized in one's own heart. And that is how you will understand that there is nothing apart from Brahman. Om Bhadram Karne Vishnuyama Deva Bhadram Pashe Makshabhir Yajatra Stirai Rangai Stuštavansas Tanubi Vashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddashrava Swastina Pusha Vishwaveda Swastina Starksho Arishtanemi Swastino Brahaspatir Dadatu Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.